On Friday, details of Vice President Kamala Harris's plan to address the housing crisis were released. And so far, not bad. The plan, which builds on proposals that President Joe Biden has already announced, promises the following: up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers, providing a $10,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers as well. They also promise incentives for builders that build starter homes sold to first-time buyers in the form of tax incentives, an expansion of a tax incentive for building affordable rental housing, a new $40 billion innovation fund to spur innovative housing construction, repurposing federal land for affordable housing, a ban on algorithm-driven price-setting tools for landlords to set rents, and removing tax benefits for investors who buy large numbers of single-family rental homes. So there's some interesting proposals in there. More homes to increase supply, of course. That's also part of this, to build about 3 million more homes. And, of course, the tax credit for first-time home buyers, the down payment support. Interesting stuff. Now, the more affordable housing on federal land, that's also a really good proposal. Because basically what it does is that it's working around the NIMBY problem that we run into. There are people out there who don't want affordable housing built near them because, some of them look down on poor people, no doubt. Oh, I don't want to live near that. But there's actually another understandable concern, and that is home prices. They believe that affordable housing near them is going to lower property values. Now, I think that that's a legitimate concern, only because the only way left to build wealth in this country is through your home, if you're lucky enough to have them. So if even the perception that, hey, this will lower my property values is there, that's going to get a lot of people squeamish, right? That said, that's still no reason to not build affordable housing. I'm just saying that for the homeowner's perspective, I understand. So if a right-winger comes out and says, or a left-winger, right, or a Democrat, I should say, comes out and says, because you're not going to have really anybody from the left wing making that argument, but you will have Democrats that'll be like, well, we can't build here because that might lower your home values. You understand that generally those people tend to be backed by, these politicians are backed by real estate investors. And so anyway, making that argument, I still think it's a bad argument, but understandable from the homeowner's perspective. But anyway, that needs to change. But as I said before, more affordable housing is a good thing. And so they're trying to get around that whole NIMBY issue by, building affordable housing on federal land. All right, good. Now, those are some decent steps that I believe will help the housing crisis. That said, landlords and their backers, people that they fund in Congress, they're already hating on the idea of rent controls. Okay, so a very controversial topic. Oh, rent controls, it's like communism. Okay, well, in fact, here's Lainey Chen, Director of Domestic Policy Studies at Stanford University, and a past CNN opinion contributor. Now, Chen also worked on the campaigns for Republicans, including Utah Senator Mitt Romney. So here's what she said. She said it's the ugly part. The rent caps are the ugly part of Harris's plan. What is effectively a federal rent control measure was a bad idea when President Biden proposed it a few weeks ago, said Chen. She also adds that there appears to be another giveaway to local governments disguised as an innovation fund without any apparent accountability for results. So let me just say, lady, you worked in the campaign of a man who had a dancing horse, all right? Who had an underground car park with a $55,000 elevator. Please shut up. Sit down, okay? Sit down. The idea that rent control, and you're going to hear this a lot, rent control actually hurts renters and homeowners, is ridiculous. It's not real. A lot of people are citing a flawed study done by Stanford professors Rebecca Diamond and Tim McQuaid. Now, it turns out Diamond and McQuaid are both former employees of Wall Street. Diamond was a Goldman Sachs asset manager. which again does a lot of real estate, and McQuaid worked for for UBS Investment Bank. So now remember, banks are the reason that we had a housing crisis in the first place. Remember the 2008 housing crash caused by big banks selling bad mortgage-backed securities? Weird. Weird that they would be against, lowering the cost of housing in this country. No, look, housing is a human right. Actually went and looked at the study and found some flaws. One is that the claim that the rent control actually increased gentrification in San Francisco is misleading and overblown, they say, and ignores the loopholes in the laws that allow condo conversions. Okay. So now another flaw found that the study's conclusions about rent control increasing costs to other tenants are based on a skewed data set with limited applicability to the total housing stock in San Francisco and to other cities as well. Another flaw in the study said it vastly understates the benefit of rent control by excluding tenants that moved to their rent-controlled units after 1994 and by only studying up to 2012. Another flaw they found is the first two versions of the study from September and October 2017 were deceptively packaged to very positive conclusions found about rent control that don't fit with the author's agenda. These are the versions that got the most media attention. Wonder why. Another flaw they found was that the authors have released 3 different versions of the study, which manipulated their mathematical models to make rent control look worse in every study released after. So in each new release. So, all right, there's some flaws there. All right, now getting to the housing supply. That's very important. Building more homes is good. We should do that. Building more homes, single-family homes, as well as building more affordable housing, which this plan addresses both. Now, there is one thing, though, that I do wish was stronger, and that's the plan to try to stop Wall Street investors from buying up all the new homes and turning them into high-price rentals. So this plan removes tax benefits from these companies. I think, however, it would be more effective to have a limit on how many new homes you can buy and rent out. I think that's one of the reasons that the supply of homes is so low, because you have these big investment firms that are buying up all the new real estate and then basically driving up the prices. So if you put a limit on how many they can own and operate, well, I mean, I think that would go a long way to actually making sure that supply, these new homes that are built are actually going to people and not investment firms. Okay. Now, another thing that's going to help out that the president doesn't have any control over is cutting interest rates. Now, right now, the interest rates for home ownership loans, or for home loans, or for car loans, for any loans really, are extremely high. People are not selling their homes. They're not getting loans for new homes. Those interest rates are blocking a lot of this. Now, the problem with that is that the Federal Reserve is the only one that can cut these interest rates, not the federal government. And the Federal Reserve is actually not a part of the federal government. So now, that said, the other problem with all these policies is that you do need Congress to vote and pass legislation with these in it. Okay, this is not something that the president can do once she gets into power. You would need it to vote in members of Congress who support these policies. Now, that would be people who are progressive, people who are not backed by real estate corporations as their big donors. And so you got to watch out. Obviously, Republicans aren't going to be in favor of any of these things. And not only that, but corporate Democrats backed by real estate are also going to be an obstacle here. So you have to make sure to vote in the right people. Vote in the right people. And unfortunately, we're losing the right people. We just lost a housing advocate in Cori Bush and a progressive in Jamal Bowman. So due to millions and millions of dollars of outside spending by right-wing groups like AIPAC, for example. Cori Bush would have been an excellent vote on this slate of priorities. So difficulties aside, in needing, a progressive Congress and things like that to actually get this done. If they do manage to do it, awesome. But it's not the end of the road, right? There's still going to be a lot more to do policy-wise in order to bring housing prices and rents down to a more reasonable level. But every little bit does help. And so here you have a plan, a policy plan at long last. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.